weeks after starting the build-up to the WrestleMania main event rematch against Rock, Steve Austin's upcoming neck surgery forced changes to the entire direction of storylines heading into 2000, opening November in a match against Billy Gunn to start Raw's second hour, jumping over 600,000 viewers to a 6 rating, with his final Raw appearance for the next 10 months taking place on November 8 with him still advertised for the Survivor Series pay-per-view, opening the show in a segment with Vince and Rock doing a 5.4 rating. After weeks of hype vignettes for his debut and working his first match at Survivor Series, Kurt Angle's WWF TV run couldn't have started better, with him involved in Raw's highest-rated quarter of the night in his first 2 weeks, working a match against Godfather on November 15, picking up over 600,000 viewers to a peak 6.7 rating, followed by a match against Mark Henry the next week in a quarter jumping over 1.3 million viewers to a 5.9. Closing the month in a match against Val Venis doing a 6.5. Sting and Luger's angles throughout the month saw several turns, with Liz's involvement on the way to building a match for the Starrcade pay-per-view, consistently being placed in the same time slot, opening Nitro's main event quarter on a weekly basis starting on November 15 in a series of matches against Meng, first with Luger and Sting working against each other in a match picking up over 500,000 viewers to a 3 rating. Followed by 2 segments on November 22 jumping over 1.4 million viewers doing 3.3 and 3.4 ratings, first for Luger putting Liz in a cage for a match against Meng to bring out Sting for the save, and an hour later a Sting vs Meng match, closing the month in an angle with Luger, Liz and Sting in a pool of mud in a quarter doing a show-high 3 rating. Bret Hart's push under the Russo-Ferrari regime culminated with him winning the WCW title for the first time in front of the Canadian crowd, making his first appearance on TV with the belt on November 22, defending the title against Jeff Jarrett to open the crossover segment at 9 p.m., holding viewers better than usual in one of the highest openings in months, 3.5 rating. With Bret working 2 matches the following week, first defending the title against Meng in a match jumping over 700,000 viewers to a peak 3 rating, before being involved in a 3-way cage tag match with Chris Benoit in the Overrun, with the final 2 weeks of build-up to the Mayhem pay-per-view seeing Bret in 2 tournament matches against Perry Saturn and Billy Kidman gaining over 500,000 viewers to 3.2 rating. Bossman and Big Show were building to the payoff match of one of the wildest programs of the year, with both's biggest numbers of the month coming on the same night on November 15, with Big Show winning the WWF title in a major surprise at Survivor Series and defending it the following night against Bulldog doing a 6.4 rating, while Bossman headlined the show in a hardcore match against Rock also doing a 6.4. with both working separate matches the following week, with Show defending the belt against Kane while Bossman teamed up with Albert against Rock doing 5.2 and 5.6 ratings, with both opening the show on November 29 with a tag match of Show and Kane against Bossman and Viscera doing a 6.2. With his planned retirement delayed due to the Austin injury, Mick Foley teamed up with Al Snow throughout the month while building to the reunion of the Rock and Sock Connection, working 2 tag matches in the first 2 weeks of November against Bossman Albert and the Outlaws, doing 6.2 and 5.3 ratings, with him working a singles match against Val Venis on November 15, jumping over 600,000 viewers to a 6.3. Starting the angle with Snow and Rock the following week to lead to his biggest number of the month, with Mankind teaming with Rock and Kane against DX, doing a 6.8 rating. Bill Goldberg was involved in the highest-rated segment of the night in every Nitro he was on during the month, missing the first one with him doing an interview from the set of the Ready to Rumble movie, with him coming back on November 8 to have the 2 highest-rated quarters of the night, first with a match against Sting doing a 3.2 rating, before a main event 4-way ladder match doing a show-high 3.3, opening the crossover quarter the following week to peak the night in a match against Curt Hennig doing a 3.3 rating, with Goldberg teaming with Seed for the first time against Hall and Nash in the main event on November 22, jumping over 1.2 million viewers to bring Nitro to the closest rating margin from Raw in months, doing a 4 rating to Raw's 4.7. Closing the month in 2 matches on the night, first against Nash doing a 2.8, followed by a 3-way cage with Seed doing a quarter peak 3. The Outsiders were the most featured performers of the Russo-Ferrara regime in November '99, with them overlapping between all the top programs and having multiple segments a show on a weekly basis, starting the month with Nash hyping a makeover before revealing it to be a Vince McMahon parody being placed in the crossover quarter at 9 p.m. doing the peak of the night 3.2 rating, with Nash continuing with the parodies the following week dressed as the Grand Wizard, while Hall worked 2 matches on the night combined, gaining over 1.7 million viewers, first with a match against Lash LaRue doing a 3 rating, and the main event 4-way ladder match with Hall winning the US title doing a peak 3.3. Hall and Nash in a Seed costume worked separate matches on November 15 with Hall vs Chris Benoit opening Nitro's 3rd hour to a 3.2 rating, while Nash headlined the show in a street fight against Seed doing a 2.8 overrun, with the Outsiders' biggest number of the month coming on November 22 in a main event tag match against Goldberg and Seed, jumping over 1.2 million viewers to bring Nitro within half a rating point margin from Raw with a 4 rating, closing the month with them involved in 3 matches on the night in all the main TV time slots at the top of each hour against Seed, Goldberg in the main event cage match. After months of them teaming up, Kane and X-Pac were building to the follow-up feud, with X-Pac turning heel to join DX, facing each other in the first Raw of the month in a match that turned into an angle with DX attacking Kane a minute in it quarter doing a 5.9 rating, with X-Pac's biggest singles match of the month coming a week later against Rock with a show-high 6.1 rating, followed by both being involved in a six-man tag match with DX against Kane along with Rock and Mankind doing a 6.8. With Austin written off TV, Foley nearing retirement and Taker still out with injury, Triple H was the biggest beneficiary from the company trying to fill the void at the top of the card, with him having one of the biggest shows of his career to date on November 29, first working a match against Test at the top of the hour, jumping over 800,000 viewers to a quarter-high 6.9 rating, while an hour later interrupting the Test Stephanie wedding ceremony to officially kick off the McMahon-Helmsley regime storyline, jumping to a 7.3 overrun. Hunter opened the month defending the title against Shane in the main event, gaining over 1.2 million viewers to a peak 6.5 rating, followed by another match in the main event against Test doing a 5 final quarter, coming out with DX to deny running over Austin a day after Survivor Series to open Raw on November 15 with a 5.9 rating on a show that also saw him working a match against Kane doing a 6, with him involved in a show-long angle of DX getting Vince arrested on November 22 before being booked by Shane in a handicap match against the Acolytes doing a 4.7 overrun. With him still organizing the new creative process in the company following the Russo-Ferrara jump, along with working around major players missing on television, Vince McMahon was involved in a feud with Triple H throughout the month to build to a pay-per-view match in December, taking the feud to the next level on November 22, 4 days after the McMahon family were attacked by DX on SmackDown, waiting for their arrival in the parking lot before running them over and chasing them in a building in a quarter, jumping over 1.3 million viewers to a 5.9 rating, with the follow-up of Vince getting arrested and going to the police station continuing to gain, bumping Raw over 700,000 viewers more to another 5.9 before the payoff of him driving back to the building and throwing Hunter off the stage. After months of build-up to the segment, with the company doing a massive hype job in the lead-up to Monday night on November 29, Vince, Shane and Test were involved in the wedding ceremony, with Raw looking to capitalize on the hype, taking its longest overrun in history, going 13 minutes past the top of the hour to a peak 7.3 rating. with the planned WrestleMania main event rematch against a heel Steve Austin that would see him getting his win back now off due to Austin's neck surgery. Rock was in transition following the Survivor Series pay-per-view, with him having several mini-programs until the Royal Rumble, bumping Raw over 1.1 million viewers to 6.4 ratings on November 15, first with him being questioned by the cops on the Austin incident, followed by the main event Hardcore #1 contender match against Bossman picking up over 600,000 viewers in the overrun, working against Bossman again the following week in a handicap match along with Albert doing a 5.2 rating, with him revealing to Foley that he didn't throw his book in the trash an hour earlier to build to the return of the Rock and Sock connection in a quarter doing a 5.9. Rock worked several matches against all members of DX throughout the month, with the first one coming on November 1 against Road Dogg, with him cutting a talked-about promo on Austin and Hunter in the build to the Survivor Series three-way match to open Raw with a 5.6, with him working a match against X-Pac the following week to bump Raw over 1.3 million viewers to the peak quarter of the night 6.1 rating, closing the month in the first ever Raw from the new Staples Center in a backstage segment with Foley and Al Snow before coming out to a huge ovation for his first appearance in the building in a six-man tag match with Mankind and Kane against DX, jumping over 500,000 viewers to a 6.8 rating.